everybody, my name is Aborno Isaac Bear from Barry Talents Lab, and welcome to the Semi-Daily History Show, where I, the host, Aborno Isaac Berry, am accompanied by my brother
Hello.
and my father, who are going to be participants. Today, we will be discussing World War II. So, the most important thing that happened yesterday was, on May 9th, it was one of the anniversaries of Victory Day in Europe, which was when Germany was partitioned between the Allies. And so, that day is very important in Russia. So it was celebrated yesterday, and Putin brought up some controversial topics.
I have a question. Russia celebrated the Victory Day yesterday, and Putin made a big deal out of it. Why we, United States, did not celebrate it?
Well,
we saved Europe from Hitler.
Well, first of all, I want to address the second thing you said.
We saved Europe from Hitler. Why we did not celebrate it?
Well, first of all, the U.S. only gave surrounding accompanying troops.
No,
most of
the U.S.
they invaded Italy.
No, the U.S.
Come on,
dropped the two atomic bombs.
Do not make U.S. contribution is smaller than
Hiroshima and Little
True,
Boy.
but
if the U.S. didn't drop those two bombs, then World War II would still be going.
Yeah, it would be going possibly over and over,
so
and causing much more death.
It's because of the U.S.
Why we don't celebrate the Victory Day? Is it because we are just is it because we are just too kind of low profile? Let's take low profile. Let's be.
The U.S. had never been low profile.
So why we don't celebrate it?
Well, I mean, Russia or the Soviet Union took the most casualties and also saved the most land from Hitler, while the U.S. only was able to liberate France, Italy, and...
No.
US,
if it was not for the U.S., Japan would still be dropping...
No, I mean in Europe! I'm talking about victory in Europe.
Save Europe. If U.S. was not there, Europe would be gone.
U.S. also saved. U.S. also saved.
No, England. It would be all the communist.
U.S. also saved England the way U.S. saving Ukraine right now. Do you know how much money U.S. gave it to England at that time?
And
England was uninvadable by the.
Also, the U.S. remember the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
The U.S. did the
Berlin Wall
airlift, and it gave supplies to millions.
That was
of people.
after World War II. What do you mean?
Now, can you tell me, without being biased, why U.S. do not celebrate a Victory Day? Is it because we're saving every country, and if we celebrate the Victory Day, we have to celebrate Victory Day every day? 365 days a year?
True.
What? Well, think about all of the countries in Eastern Europe.
We save Pakistan, we save Bangladesh, we save India, we save Japan.
Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh were all under British rule at that time. What do you mean?
But the U.S. saved British, and
Can we talk about Europe?
Okay, sure.
We're talking about Victory in Europe Day.
Okay. So why
Jesus, are you guys so deaf?
Okay.
So, anyway, as I said, the Soviet Union was the one who took the most casualties.
How many?
I believe over 15 million.
Did they kill themselves?
No.
Okay.
What do you mean? So, the USSR had a lot of defects. They also basically used their soldiers as meat shields. So instead of
USSR?
Yeah.
I just said that.
What does that mean?
That basically means they just forced their soldiers to be cannon fodder.
That's
like killing.
that's
disgraceful. Why would you do that? That's why I said Stalin. He was not human. I don't know what he was.
The leader of Russia was Stalin at that time.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
That guy was an evil dictator.
Yeah, he was no better than Hitler and
no better than Hitler.
In
fact, the U.S. kind of did save Europe because
now he's kind of tuning with us.
Because without the Americans, all of Europe would be communist, except obviously
Britain. Can you get to the point why U.S. doesn't celebrate the Victory Day?
Well, because the U.S. didn't take the U.S. or Britain didn't take as many casualties.
Can you tell us the contribution of Russia, Soviet Union in World War II and contribution of US in World War II.
Okay, but don't just stop me and say random things biased towards the U.S.
Sure,
Okay?
sure.
So the Soviet Union took all of Eastern Europe from the Germans painstakingly, as the Germans exterminated every single Soviet person that came into their lands. So they put them in the concentration camps side by side with the Jews. So anyway. As the Soviets advanced, they took more and more land and eventually started introducing new communist governments in the territories he captured. Well, not immediately. He just kind of made them his puppet states until further notice. So
Stalin?
yeah, so he captured half of Germany. He captured all of Poland, the Balkans, and
That was toward the World War, toward the end of the World War II.
No, but the Soviet Union was nearly always fighting.
But I was asking you, how World War II started and how Russia involved with World War II and how Russia
I thought you asked me Russia's contributions
Sure,
to
go
the
ahead.
end of World War
But
II.
if you look at Russia's contributions, it looks like a lot Europe.
Hiroshima is not in Europe.
Did you just say Japan is in Europe? How
Okay.
stupid can one man be?
We should establish
If
a
you-
new
if
holiday
you-
instead of just Victory Day. Instead of just victory against Hitler, the US saved the entire world at that time.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
There should be a new
I think so.
holiday just for the US
I think
saving
so.
the world.
I think so. The only reason US doesn't celebrate it is because US just wanted to keep the low profile. By the way,
I
what if
think it's
what
The
just-
U.S. had never
No.
kept a low profile.
No, I think
it
it's
was
just-
actually the richest in its history by the time World War II ended.
tell
No,
us
I
what is the
think-
US contribution in World War II? Briefly.
The U.S.'s contribution in World War II was first of all, the biggest probably was
How did they involve and what was their contribution?
So the biggest probably was in 1944 when Pearl Harbor was done by the Japanese.
I know, but that was the biggest US response militarily, right?
No, but let me talk about that. So anyway, when FDR died, Truman became president, and Truman was immediately requested to do all of this random stuff. He hadn't heard much about what was going on in Europe or Asia with World War II. So now he was tasked with doing something about a war he knew nearly nothing about. So anyway, first of all, the matter that was most immediately brought to his attention was Japan. And Japan had declared war on the U.S. A while ago. And only because Japan declared war on the U.S. did Germany bother to declare war on the U.S. as well.
Oh, Germany declared war on US.
After Japan. Because, of course, they were in the same alliance.
Okay.
So anyway,
They had some audacity.
yeah, they didn't really know what the U.S. could do.
By the way, why didn't the US drop bombs on Hitler?
Good question, but probably because Germany was super populated, and once Hitler died, everybody else bothered to surrender instead of Japan, which didn't want to surrender even after the first bomb.
Gotcha. That's not why. Because by the time the US was ready to drop the bomb on Germany, Hitler was already gone as a threat. So that's why the US dropped it only on Japan.
Well, as I said, the U.S. already saw that Hitler was edging close to surrendering. And once Hitler, did the thing, he left this world, the U.S. didn't see Germany as a threat anymore because all of his former generals surrendered.
Was the US not afraid of a second Hitler emerging? Because Hitler...
No, because
No,
the
let me-
U.S.
no, no, please, let me explain.
Some people
Hitler-
think that
Hitler-
US did not drop the bomb in Germany is because to save the US did not want to kind of destroy the white race.
No,
That's kind of
Hitler emerged because he was angry. He wanted to get revenge for the German people, right? Because Germany was defeated in World War I. Well, Germany was defeated in World War II, so how did the US ensure that a second Hitler could not arise?
It was called denazification.
No.
Basically, what do you mean? It was called denazification, where basically every single thing about the Nazis was, or fascism in
All right.
general,
Okay,
was
now
eliminated and severely policed.
now can we get to the discussion in which you were kind of
At least
telling
he
us
is focusing.
telling us that the U.S. contribution in World War II. Finish it up, because
Okay.
we are running out of time.
The U.S. contribution in World War II was the most important one, was generally Truman's contribution, where his military advisors basically called him and said, "Hey, Truman, invading Japan on land would probably be too costly."
Oh.
So, they knew it would cause thousands of Japanese deaths as well as thousands, possibly millions of American deaths.
Why? On land invasion.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, instead, Truman decided to use the results of the Manhattan Project in order.
Physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, drop a physics book. And
In
let's see what
order-
happens.
In order to actually make sure Japan was subdued. So they gave Japan one last chance by sending an ultimatum, and this, I think that was called the Potsdam Declaration, which basically said, so unconditionally surrender or we will drop something on you.
Wow. Really? The U.S. said that?
Yeah.
Yeah, U.S. always. U.S. doesn't do anything without warning.
Wow.
So, Japan did not accept the ultimatum, so the U.S. instead dropped a bomb on them. And then
What was the
Japan,
name of the bomb, by the way?
Little man,
was it Little Man or Fat Man?
fat
That
man,
was
maybe, I don't know.
the
Fat Man and Little Boy.
Fat Man, and the first one was Fat Man. My opinion is that the U.S. is responsible for saving the entire world in World War II, and thus it should not be Victory Day. It should be U.S. saves the entire world day.
Okay, so I think that U.S. because of U.S. saved the entire world, especially Europe from Hitler and Mussolini and from Japan. So I think U.S. deserve to celebrate the Victory Day, not Russia. So if you agree with my opinion, then please write in the comment box below.
I personally think that both the U.S. and the USSR contributed to saving Europe, because otherwise, if the USSR completely saved Europe, then every single nation there would be communist. If the U.S. completely saved Europe, every single nation in there would be capitalist.
And
except
they
the
are.
Wrong! I mean
Assistant.
directly after the Soviet, the World War II.
To directly talk to the audience. Yeah.
I mean, after World War II, a lot of countries in Eastern Europe became communist because of the Soviet Union, which meant that both the U.S. and the USSR had to invade Germany and save Europe from fascism.